Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club podcast, where every month we deep dive in different aspects of cinema's genres, actors, or franchises. It doesn't matter, because it's always fun at the Film Club. I'm Dean.
I'm Becky.
And this month we are continuing on the saga that is Twilight. And we have come to the third installment.
Eclipse.
And like the other two episodes, we have a guest.
She's finally back.
I'm finally back.
Finally back. I like how we say finally back. If you're listening to this, this was like a week ago.
Week after week.
Yeah, to us, this was... When was the last episode? When was A New Moon?
Oh, God. It was still hot outside.
Was it like
August, I think.
August?
No, it was in September because we didn't record in October because it was like Halloween mayhem month.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in
September.
October.
Okay, so it's been over like a month?
Yeah,
Ish?
but if you're listening to this, I'm just back predictably.
Predictably back.
After New Moon.
I love how we record these so like wildly out of order, but we're doing Eclipse.
The saga's been a journey.
It's been a journey. And and the journey continues on. We're doing Eclipse. Was this one you guys saw together?
No.
No?
This is when she had already left for Scotland.
True.
Why you gotta leave for Scotland? Why you have to abandon Edward and Jacob like
Broke
that?
my heart.
I was going to colder regions in the world trying to find like some real vampires. 2010.
Yeah.
So we were adults at this point.
Yeah.
But not really, because we were still invested in the Twilight Saga.
That feels kind of like the story of Twilight. Is this was a lot of girls' high school obsession, and then it evolved into like early 20s obsession kind of thing. Because this was aimed for like high school aged girls, right?
Yeah.
Totally,
absolutely.
So when Becky lent me Midnight Sun the last time we recorded, I was reading the dedication at the front from Stephanie Meyer, and she was like reminiscing about how she's met all these like wide-eyed, young women who have like grown up with the Twilight Saga, and how she said something like, I don't know, your sparkling eyes, your faces like fill me with inspiration. So here's Midnight Sun. It was like dedicated to her fans who have grown up with this saga. Yeah. AKA moi. Et toi.
We grew up with it, yeah.
I also vaguely grew up with it, but I grew up with it as a adolescent boy, so I thought it was lame as hell.
Yeah.
But
Who knew? Years later, you'd be simping over Jacob.
No, I'm not simping over Jacob. I think just objectively he is the better choice. But
Simp.
we'll get into that.
Simp Town, USA.
That is what this movie is all about, is Jacob versus Edward. Like, which one's really the better choice for Bella? And
not what does Bella want?
Because Bella doesn't know what she wants. She says as much.
Bella knows what she wants.
By the end of the film, she does. This film is juicy, y'all.
Is juicy. Is the book...
It's a PG-13. We're moving into, like, racy territory. Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Edward almost breaks the bed with Bella in it in some point in this movie, and then he has to, like, slide out of that.
That's Breaking Dawn.
Yeah, that's Breaking Dawn.
Is that Breaking Dawn, where he breaks the bed?
Yeah.
Bust the frame.
He's so excited. He's like, I can't wait to see that.
It's going to be fucking hilarious.
Breaking Dawn is just wow. It's, you're going to be laughing.
Yeah.
Crying, laughing.
I'm glad I saw that alone.
Lord. Okay, so I guess my question, before we get into the movie, the books, you two have read the books, I'm assuming. Got brushed up a little bit, maybe reread them like 5 or 6 times before this. So the book was released in, 07? I think 09? Like, it was a pretty short release to green light, right? Because I think almost all the books were released before the first movie came out, if I'm not mistaken.
The first 3, definitely.
07.
07?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was released in 07. This comes out in 2010. Leading up to this, I guess for everyone who hasn't listened to the last 2 episodes, the first Twilight comes out. The fangirls, you two, big fans.
Yeah, I mean, we had our gripes with it, but we were still happy. There was something.
Still going into New Moon.
Excited, yeah.
Excited. Now, Eclipse. You've already seen the 2 movies.
I was heartbroken. She left. So I was like, well, I can't wait for her to come back and see it. So I had to go.
Becky was living her new moon.
I was.
While watching Eclipse.
And you were over
gone.
there.
Not in Italy, but close enough.
It was pretty close.
Not in Brazil, sorry.
Yeah. So I guess going into the movie, did you see it in the theater, Yasmin?
I don't know. I definitely saw it, but I don't remember seeing Eclipse in the theater.
She was kind of busy in a new country,
Things happen.
starting college.
Yeah.
But I guess the first time you guys were seeing it, were you excited because the last two movies like were good adaptations of the books, or were you kind of like mitigated expectations? The last two weren't that good, because I don't know how close this is to the book.
Pretty close.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
I think that, and I said this previously, that like the first Twilight like disappointed me so much. Like Catherine Hardwicke, like you have traumatized me.
It was just the blue filter and the bad dialogue.
There was a lot.
Again, no spider monkeys in the book.
Right, just like offensive to the senses. So yeah, like going into New Moon, going into Eclipse, going into Breaking Dawn. Yes, like I wanted to see how they adapted it, but it was always like I just had a little bitter taste in my mouth. I think like because of Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but still excited, to see what they did with it.
Because Eclipse is a good story.
It's great. I remember reading it and thinking like New Moon, I was just like,
yeah.
But Eclipse is like, oh, she comes back with the passion.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like
the romance.
I like
the
how
action.
I like
The
how
action.
Twilight, when you describe it, sounds like a girl's first dirty romance novel. Like, is that
I
how
was
you describe
16
it?
when this came
Because
out.
it totally is.
Yeah, I was 16 when this book came out.
And now you're on to Court of Thorn and Roses.
Yeah, that is like night and day with Twilight. It's
I
like,
have
oh my
it.
god.
It's gone. This was like a PG-13, and they're just like, we're going hard R, X-rated in some chapters.
NC-17.
You graduate with that book. Like, damn.
I've heard.
I finished all 5 books in like 2 months.
Wow.
And Becky hates reading. I give her books. She just is like, no, screw you, Dean, and throws them out the window.
You just need to know like her preferred genre.
Smutty fantasy. Got it.
Vampire romance and just high romance.
I guess. I like vampires.
Mm-hmm.
But Dean's books are like, yeah, this is about, this sad guy, this dystopian world. And I'm like, oh, God.
Fucking Fahrenheit 451. It's a
That's
good
my
book.
jam, actually.
I should start sending you my book
You
recommendations.
should.
There you go.
Yeah, I would definitely read them.
I mean, he's trying to read A Court of Thorn and Roses for me, but he's like, I read 1 chapter a day if I remember. And I'm like, the chapters sometimes are like 3 pages. I'm like
100 pages in now. It's like
That's
pretty good.
That's good. That's more than like
I need
most women
proof.
could. That's love. That's dedication.
he's just talking very, very sweetly, but I know Dean. He's probably like, I haven't cracked open that book. I don't even know where the book is.
He's been reading Spark Notes.
Yeah.
Like online.
Oh, I could read Spark Notes to get through that. Oh, shit. You're giving me ideas.
No, you gotta read page for page.
Well, reading page for page, we're going to watch minute for minute Eclipse, okay? So,
You should
Eclipse.
make him do book reports. Okay, go on.
Eclipse. So, big thing about this, we have like a recasting. Victoria is a different actress from New Moon to this. It's now played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Even no one really knows why that change was made.
Because she was supposed to be available for Eclipse, and
New Moon.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Rachel. What is her last name? I can't.
Rachel New Moon.
Yeah, she was supposed to be available for Eclipse. She ended up booking another movie that was shooting at the same time, and they released her. They were like, "You need to be with us."
Because this franchise is like an assembly line. They're making a movie almost like every year.
Yeah.
And
They have to because the characters don't age.
Yeah. So it's like they gotta keep the train going.
they're like, we really can't wait too long, or else Taylor Lautner's going to start looking 19, I guess, because he's like super young in this. But I digress.
It's more the vampires. You know, they're already older. We need to keep them, looking fresh.
sharp. Get those bad wigs on, which again
Oh
is
my God.
They
the
progressively
wigs.
get worse. Yeah.
What the hell?
I objectively say the wigs in this is an artistic choice of how bad they are.
Yeah.
They are uniquely bad for every movie.
They're canon.
Oh, yeah, yes, you have a thing. I see it.
I'm like
You're freaking out.
speechless, but like honestly, when you first see Bella and Edward in the meadow, what the hell is going on with her hairline? I'm like, she has hair. What did they put a wig on her, or is that her freaking hair?
Or is it extensions or something?
It could be extensions, but I know she wore a wig because she was filming The Runaways during this. Or
when she had the short crop.
Yeah,
she had like a mullet.
Yeah, she had the Joan Jett haircut. So
okay, because I was like, am I crazy, or is she wearing a very bad wig?
No, she was wearing a wig.
Okay, whoever like illegal, just instant like jail, just
straight
jail
to jail,
straight to jail. Like the hairlines,
This is like that bit in what is it, Parks and Rec? Is like bad weeks, you'd be surprised, straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
Yes.
The quirks of this franchise are like kind of great. But the other thing that's a major change is we have a new director.
Yeah.
Now it's David Slade is taking over.
He made 30 Days a Night.
Did make 30 Days a Night, which 30 Days a Night is a good movie. Like I can get behind it.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I accidentally licked the microphone. Like I stuck my tongue out. And
Did you just lick the microphone?
Yes, I went like I was trying. Okay, whatever.
Okay, everyone out there, you can go and clip that. That is your ASMR for the year.
Yasmin French the microphone.
She was like, David Slade.
Stop.
Okay.
We're gonna have to get you some like mouthwash or something so you can sanitize.
I need help. I need serious help.
So, but we have David Slade, new director. He directed 30 Days of Night. I'm like, okay, he's done action, horror stuff. Awesome, cool.
He's directed music videos.
Which is all you needed.
That's all I need.
You needed. But I say that because this feels different than New Moon does, and definitely different than Twilight does.
Yeah.
So
they all feel different.
They all feel different. And I guess we're going to get into that once we get going, because it's kind of apparent in the first scene of this movie where we open on, I believe the character's name is Riley, who is just walking through the rain in some Seattle or whatever. Or is it Forks?
It's Forks, yeah.
It's Forks. And he gets attacked by unseen vampire force, and this guy got like a fucking horror movie. I'm like, oh shit, did Blade show up? Oh fuck yeah, okay, I'm in. Let's roll. Okay, but the opening of the movie is more horror movie vibes than anything we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Were you expecting this? Is that how it opens in the book too?
I think so. I mean, it's been such a long time, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we open on.
Been a whole 6 days
on Riley. No, it's been a long time.
So it was interesting because watching this,
no, we don't.
I was like kind of taken aback immediately. Like, actually, the way it opens is you see the Summit logo, and there's like you hear thunder, and there's like rain,
and you hear chop and change.
Yeah,
and I was just like, fuck yeah.
But like, it does have it has a horror movie vibe. It has a superhero. You almost feel like, oh, am I watching Batman? Am I watching like?
I mean, Edward is vengeance.
Edward is vengeance.
Now he is. Before he was simp, now he is vengeance.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in love with the biggest simp in this movie, so you really want to go there?
Okay, this is a movie. This franchise is a franchise about simps.
Shark Boy.
All right.
Shark Boy. I'm sorry, Lava Girl.
Lava Girl.
This is a franchise about simping. Let's be real here. All the teenagers also simp over Bella to be her friend. Let's be real here.
I'm gonna get into that.
You just hate everyone in this franchise.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you have like the cinematography, the vibe, the tone of this is completely different. I feel like New Moon, for me, like rewatching these, it was truest to the book, like the feeling in the book. I felt when I was watching New Moon like I was reading it again. But it feels like very fantastical, very romantic. Twilight is like Lords of Dogtown, and Eclipse is like
you're always shitting on Catherine Hardwicke.
Like,
she's fine.
Just really anyway. Eclipse, yeah, you feel like, oh, like this is like from the get-go, you're like, this is intense. This is like this is violent. This is dark. Yeah.
It's going into that whole 5-act structure where like the first scene doesn't have your characters, but it's setting mood and tone. And the mood and tone is like, this is gonna be some hard shit, my guys. We're gonna like, there's people gonna fucking die. It's gonna be hardcore. And then we cut into a beautiful meadow with Edward and Bella just like being romantic and chilling. And it's
then
like,
Dean was like, I hate this.
No, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine because they're having their nice little what is it, post-proposal marriage conversation. Because in New Moon, at the end of it, he asks her to marry him, right?
Yeah.
And then this whole little section is like, we have to wait because back in my day, you have to wait to get married. And she's like, that was like so long ago. And I'm like, Edward, you are an immortal vampire. You've experienced the Cultural Revolution of the 60s and 70s. Like, why is it that Edward still feels like he is from, like, 1918 or whatever the fuck?
Why don't you ask yourself the same question? Why do you feel like you're from the 1950s when you never even touched it?
You're the one who thinks I'm from the 1950s.
You act like it.
Hey, some of us immortal vampires, we got a thing. It's fine, all right?
Maybe, this is not in the book, but maybe it's like the fact that he's frozen.
In time,
was in
yeah.
time is... I don't know, because Jasper is acting like a, a Civil War, general.
Battle scars.
God, that was so good.
That is the most I think I've ever seen Jasper talk in this franchise.
Yeah.
Up to this point.
Okay, his wig gets better in this movie.
It does.
He absorbed all the good wigs from everyone else because everyone else's wigs have gotten worse.
And
Rosalind wigs look awful.
Rosalie.
Oh,
but I'm
my
trying to
God.
remember. Does he straighten his hair for the last movie? Like the very last movie?
I think possibly.
Yeah, because I know it's like, this one is like, oh, okay. And then the next one, I think it's all right. And then the last movie is like, oh, God, he got the hair straightener. Like, oh, no.
Step away from the straightener, Jasper.
But they have their like nice romantic, like, oh, okay, because I guess that's the dichotomy we're going on. It's going to be a kind of horror action movie and this romance fantasy, right? That's literally the entire franchise.
Yeah.
But after this is like now establishing the actual conflict. Charlie's pushing Bella to hang out with Jacob. Jacob is like really into Bella, and it's establishing this like love triangle, and that's like really the driving force of the movie is the Jacob, Edward, Bella love triangle going on here.
Hence the teams.
Hence the teams: Team Jacob, Team Edward,
and Team Switzerland.
Team Switzerland.
Because there were people that were Team Switzerland, and like, no, obviously, you pick Edward. Obviously.
Okay, were you both Team Edwards?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, because Jacob's making his points. He's
we
like,
know that you are simping hard for Jacob.
I'm
but
not a simping here. This has nothing to do with attraction. He's laying it out. It's like, hey, if you're with me, you don't die.
Eventually you do.
Yeah, eventually. So it's like, oh, you get to
you
grow
die old
and have like
but you have a
life.
soul.
You have a soul,
You don't burn in hell for all eternity.
As a woman who enjoys herself at church once or twice and calling out the Virgin Mary, would you be like, I mean, Edward's hot, but like no immortal soul? That's kind of rough.
It's really interesting. Discussion. Yeah, it's really interesting to return to this series as an adult woman. Because, like, as a teen, I was like, oh, Team Edward forever, right? Like, no question about it. I had no interest in Jacob. Sorry, but, like, as a teen girl.
Yeah.
Because Robert Pattinson started looking like a good-looking guy, and it took a whole movie for Lautner to get into,
It was just
shredded.
the wig. He was already, yeah.
It's not about the looks. It was, like, this idea of, like, faded, like, romance, right? I think is, like, so... I don't know, it spoke to my sensibilities as a teen girl because it seems really just like, just over the top, like romantic. But watching it as an adult woman, when I was watching New Moon, I was like, wait, Jacob is like actually, I said this last time, I was like, he's seeming more appealing than Edward. Like he
You're
can
like,
offer
I can't
her
put
more.
my hand on, my finger on it, but like he's shirtless now, and there's something there.
Something there. But this movie, I was like, at least for the first half of this movie, I was like, oh my God, the toxic masculinity in this is egregious. Like
the toxic masculinity.
So bad.
You're in love with me, Bella. You're in love. I'm going to show you. I'm going to make you kiss me.
Yeah.
And this is like, no.
Okay, that is one of the funniest scenes when she breaks her hands punching him because Kristen Stewart is like,
The sound killed me.
The faces.
Because
the Kristen Stewart faces.
Yeah, she's almost doing like the Peter Griffin bit where he falls on his knees and going like,
Yeah.
Or no, Pee Wee Herman from Buffy, if we're keeping it in the vampire world.
Yeah.
That is a goated performance, by the way.
R.I.P. Pee Wee.
But yeah. So the toxic masculinity of Twilight series, yeah.
So bad. Just like she's trying to go to the reservation and she finds out her truck isn't working. Then Edward just shows up in her passenger seat and is like, I you can't go. I messed up your car. And she's like,
yeah.
And then Jacob,
freaking,
you'd be better off dead than a vampire.
Yeah, this keeps getting worse.
Throwing crap across the room. I'm like, excuse me? Like,
Jacob comes off as like, okay. Edward comes
control.
off as like a very controlling boyfriend, right? We get that in like literally the scene after like, oh, go hang out with, where he doesn't let her leave, you know, he fucks up her truck or whatever. And it's like, that dog, like, you know, she a woman, she can do that. And then like when she finally goes to see Jacob, or like Jacob shows up in his cool motorcycle and takes her to the reservation or whatever.
Were you at home? Oh my God, he looks so cute on the motorcycle.
No! Well, because how Jacob interacts with Edward, it almost comes off as like fucking good old boy racism to vampires. It's like really off-putting and like ugly here.
Yeah.
Why has he gotta hate the blood-sucking vampires, you know?
I mean, they tell her and us, like when they have the bonfire session.
Yeah,
Okay.
they tell the
story of like the original vampires that came to their territory.
Yeah. You know what I thought was interesting was that in New Moon, they set up that whole like Romeo and Juliet parallel. But in this movie, I was like, wait a minute. The wolves and the vampires are kind of like the Montagues and Capulets, and she doesn't belong to. It's interesting in that way that like who is she going to belong to? You know, these two like rival families, if you will. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's interesting, but
no, I can agree with that. I mean, there's definitely a bunch of parallels you can draw from there, with them being rival families, and she's like the middle ground. It's almost like in what is it in. Another weird reference, like in Metropolis, where it's like, oh, to the hand and the this and that, and there's the one person who has to be like the mitigator to bring these two families together.
Good analogy.
See, Metropolis. Everyone go watch Metropolis.
Did we talk about that this year?
I think so. It was Silent Movie Month. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We talked about how that was like a breathing film, and then the Germans came up. I digress. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can agree with that. Like reading, this series has a lot of like Romeo Juliet vibes to it.
Forbidden love and
star-crossed lovers, like meant to be, and you know, Bella has like an Italian sound, but whatever.
I mean, her name is Bella.
You know.
I mean,
but the other thing about when she actually goes to meet Jacob or whatever, I think it's really funny and weird. Why is it that they are always shirtless and in cargo shorts?
Because they phase and they just burst out of their clothes, so it's like, clothes are expensive.
Okay. I like how you're saying clothes are expensive. They phase and transform, and I'm like, they're just chilling playing Xbox. Why are they all like Abercrombie? Like,
I mean, let's know why. We know why. We know why, because they're pandering to the female gaze,
and they're trying to convert us. They're trying to convert us over to the werewolves.
Yeah, they're doing their best, but it's not working.
No,
but
it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it.
It's just funny where she's like, "Oh, Bella's here," and then all of them come out like they're like it's Babe Watch or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of this, like rewatching it too, and remembering reading these books, I'm like, oh, this is what bodice rippers are. But it's for teen girls. Like this is what
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I'm trying not to say certain things.
Do it.
Yeah, it's just horny. It's just like really horny. And like I think that's the point. It's just like, oh, all these shirtless like guys are just running out to greet me, and they're like,
I mean, the tense scene is like, guys, this whole movie is just like, how horny can we get?
Yeah.
It's really pregnant with horniness. Yeah.
Pregnant with horniness. I see. Well, while this is going on, intentional. We also have the
vampire army.
The vampire army that's being built. Victoria's there. The Cullens are chasing her through the forest, and there's more establishments of like the boundaries between these two worlds. It might have just been a thing where in New Moon I wasn't paying like that close of attention of how like strictly territories are aligned and faced or whatever, because I thought they interacted a little bit.
No.
It was more like look guys, these are the rules. We follow the rules, but like you guys have the convenience store, we have the McDonald's, we can cross boundaries. It's like whatever. I thought it was more like that, but apparently it's like way more hardcore than even I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it's the Cullens don't cross.
Oh, but the werewolves.
The werewolves can, but the Cullens don't cross.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of set up from the beginning, but they have like clear territories. Yeah.
Okay, and I think we mentioned that the flashback scene where it describes why they are the way they are, because like the original vampires, which I don't think are the Cullens.
No.
Okay, the OG vampires.
Some randos.
Some randos. They come in, they kill a bunch of the werewolf tribes, and they kill the vampires or whatever. And I really like that flashback scene. I'm like, this could just be the movie. That would be kind of sick.
Kind of touches on some history of like, colonizers, Native Americans, and.
No, I just like the idea of werewolves and vampires fighting on like this like tribal land. Like
I was gonna say it's not gonna be that deep for him. It's just gonna be cool action.
It is cool that like this idea of like, oh, these like indigenous peoples who were attacked. I mean,
just randomly
by settlers, that who truly like sucked the life out of them. That they were able to like access this like spirit animal sort of like power, and
I was like, oh shit, I didn't know I could do that. That's awesome,
Becky. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool bit, but yeah,
because
maybe
this
for different reasons than Dean.
Well, I also point out because this movie is rife with flashbacks. We have a lot of flashbacks and a lot of world building going on.
Backstories,
a lot of backstories.
We get backstories in Eclipse. Which is nice.
We also learn more about like their culture or whatever, because this is the first time I think we know what imprinting is.
Yes, we
with
do.
Jacob.
Oh, God, brace yourself.
I'm so excited for him to finish the journey.
When he said the thing about imprinting, because he was describing it as like, yeah, you just love somebody and blah blah blah.
Not quite.
Yeah, and I think that's what Bella's assuming, but even I was like, kind of catching on. I was like, no, I think this is more like some sort of magic shit where like your souls are combined.
Yeah. It's sorry to butt in, but
it is a podcast. You're kind of here for please.
I'm gonna butt in. Okay. No, he says like, oh, it's not just a crush, Bella. It's like,
and this is when he's having like his pissy moment where he's just like,
wait, which one? There's a few of them in this movie.
The first one.
Okay.
The first, yeah.
Okay.
The garage.
Yeah.
The pissy moment in the garage. Throwing things.
After he shows up at the school and she's like, I've been calling, and he was like, I didn't have anything to say, and I'm like, ooh.
Okay,
damn.
His lines in this movie, we have to go. Yeah, there's so many like Jacob lines that are just like, wow.
This whole movie is lines that I go like, oh motherfucking Christ.
Did that really happen? Did he really say that?
He's trying to be like the bad boy. He's like, yeah, I'm cool. I got my black t-shirt on. My muscles are ripping out. I got my motorcycle. Hop on, Spider Monkey. Let's go for a ride.
That's how we know this movie. He's being edgy. He's like, ooh, my one black t-shirt.
It's so funny too because
forever.
Taylor Lautner is like so not that guy.
It's not a phase, Dad.
That's the thing. Everything I've seen about Taylor Lautner is he's just a lovely human being.
He's a golden retriever pretending to be like a Rottweiler in this movie. Yeah. He's an actor. Did you guys know?
Not an actor, a thespian.
Yes.
Thespian.
Even when he's in werewolf form, it's still like a friendly looking werewolf.
A sweet, friendly dog.
Werewolf form
Clifford,
is fucking
the big red dog.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Clifford, I love him.
Have you seen the behind the scenes
Yes,
stuff?
of course I have.
It's so. Have you seen the behind the scenes?
Yeah, with the green screen business and. Wait, she's like literally petting like
Taylor Lautner
is the only werewolf where they were like, you're actually going to be in like a suit. Everyone else is just like computers. He's like in a fucking gray suit, and it's like, okay, you're gonna have your scene with Bella as the werewolf form. He's like, what do you want me to do? Bow your head so she can pet you, and he's like, what? He's like, so it's Taylor Lautner. They're just bowing his head down, and Kristen Stewart's like petting him, and I'm like, how are you keeping a straight face?
Welcome to the party, dude. We've known about this.
Hilarious.
She's wearing a fucking gray condom suit. It's fucking hilarious.
It's like a humiliation ritual for Taylor Lautner. Anyway. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've completely lost track.
There's a lot of establishing scenes going on here.
Yeah. Wait, we were in
imprinting.
In the garage. Imprinting.
Imprinting.
We weren't imprinting in the garage, but we were talking about imprinting in the garage.
just in there imprinting.
Oh, God, I knew you were going to bring that out today.
Bring out what?
That's his favorite sound effect.
Oh, God.
They're just going to go in there and they're just going to imprint together. Just.
That's
unsettling.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna love having to edit that down later. Those get way louder than you guys think. I spent a lot of time
Good,
making it
that's
so these
karma
sound
for
effects
you.
works.
You practice.
I practice my...
People are going to think you lead a sad life if you're at home practicing this, Dean. Come on.
Practicing my sound effects?
Yes.
Stop.
Imprinting.
Okay, imprinting, Dean, you're basically on the right track. It's like, it's kind of, I don't know. It's basically what Edward has with Bella.
Like soulmates, but
Yeah.
it's like a soul tie.
Yeah. Soul ties are a thing,
Yeah.
Okay.
even in real life.
I see.
But
Magic. Yeah, because Edward's like just obsessed with Bella, and well,
I mean, he's in love with her.
yeah, he's in love with her,
And he's
Jacob-
overcompensating because he fucked up in New Moon.
Yeah, that's a lot of their relationship. Is he feels like he's
Fucking up.
really overcompensating. I mean, he goes with Bella to see her mom in Arizona, Florida, and I'm sorry, I'm just thinking like they had to go on a flight, right? Because
Yeah.
he bought flight tickets. I'm now just imagining Edward Cullen just in an airplane, and that is just a hilarious
That's a New Moon.
image. He's on an airplane in New Moon.
They need to come back from Italy, don't they?
Oh my god, that does sound familiar.
And in Breaking Dawn, they're
And
on
in
an
Breaking
airplane.
Dawn, they go to their honeymoon. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just find it funny to imagine him with like the neck pillow on and like
doing really mundane things.
doing really mundane things because he's like
Getting up to go to the bathroom like once or twice and just
That's right.
standing in there like,
chicken piccata or vegetable medley, like that type of thing.
He's like, oh, nothing. But could I get? Do you have a rare steak? Actually, blue rare. Just bring me,
Mommy.
just
Mhm.
bring me the raw. You know,
that's in 30 Days a Night. I want a steak. How do you want? Raw.
raw. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it very funny to imagine like vampires doing the most mundane shit, like Dracula doing his taxes is just a hilarious image to me.
That's why he has Renfield.
Exactly. I'm thinking of Dracula, Bela Lugosi, looking at a fucking newspaper being like, I need a goddamn accountant and realtor. Oh, Renfield. Okay. Let me write a little letter. Okay, here you go, Mr. Mailman. Those mundane things I find hilarious.
This episode's going off the rails, Dean.
We're coming back in. Okay, so after the imprinting,
Dracula looking through the paper.
I find that shit hilarious. Okay, like
Vampires.
let
We're
me
on the
have
topic
this.
of vampires.
On the
okay?
topic of vampires, okay. So, but we.
I mean, I'm happy to
establish
talk about the
everything.
Hungarian hunk anytime. I'm just saying.
Okay, so
Yes.
we go back to Victoria and Riley, and they're raising vampire army people, right?
Yes.
In the Volturi?
Volturi.
Volturi. They're watching this army get raised in the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm trying to figure out the purpose of the raising of the army. Because for Victoria, it's for revenge, but the Volturi are observing this and they're just letting it happen. Did they also want Bella and the Cullens to be wiped out? Do the Volturi not like the Cullens?
They don't know what's going on, why the army's being raised. They just
Mm.
know that there's something going on in the vampire community. And then Victoria's raising the army because she wants to wipe out the Cullens, basically.
Mm.
So it's just a thing of, what is that and why are things happening? And we have no idea.
They're like a governing body, and they want to oversee things to keep everything low profile for humans,
Mhm.
and just
They're the vampiric council from What We Do in the Shadows.
This would have been a better movie if it had Tilda Swinton in it. Saying. So yeah,
Yeah, I guess. She could have been Arrow.
she could have been. Could have been.
she's so good. Have you guys seen Only Lovers Left Alive?
No, but we
No.
actually watched Suspiria, the remake that she's in, and she plays like 3 different people in it.
She does.
It's great.
Makes perfect sense.
You
But
should-
she is a vampire with Tom Hiddleston in Only Lovers Left Alive. It's
okay.
it's a good movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, highly recommend.
We'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah.
She
Alright.
could have brought that to November.
Could have brought it to November.
Can I?
November's over.
Oh,
I mean, we record these so out of order, so everyone, this might be the future talking about the past.
Because technically, when this drops, it'll be my birthday week.
why don't we
so
do
this
it
is my
in
birthday
February?
episode.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
We do
Thank
this
you.
so out of fucking order, I swear to God.
You can do it for it's kind of like a dark romance, like a very dark, twisted vampiric romance. So February maybe.
Kind of like Twilight, a vampire
Yeah, but it's
romance.
much like darker.
Much darker. That
Yeah.
one is not implied horniness, that is explicit horniness.
Yeah, it's just You know, like there's a direct kind of like metaphor with vampires and like drug addicts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you kind of see that with Riley and what's her face? Victoria.
And all like
that
the newborns,
toxic,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You see that like toxic romance of like you know, where like we're both addicted to this substance that is like makes us kind of, you know, zombies, like half dead, and yeah, we're in it together, and I don't know, there's definitely like a correlation there. So like Only Lovers Left Alive is kind of like dark in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting you bring that up because that whole drug addict thing, that's kind of the core reason why Rosalie is like trying to explain to Bella why she shouldn't transform, because she's like, you think it's like immortal whatever, but Rosalie is like, no, it's like a hard, rough life.
Slavery.
It's slavery. Like you're always, it's like the thing you think you want most of all is Edward until you turn, then you're gonna want blood far more. And it's like that's the core thing, because you know, Bella wants to get turned into a vampire. That's like a core thing she wants. Edward doesn't really want to do it, and some of the family are like, yeah, cool, but Rosalie is very much like, honey, no, I'm going to tell you like why I got turned into a vampire. Here's my flashback.
Did you like her flashback?
I really liked the aesthetic. It was the 20s or the 30s?
Yeah.
I think it was the 20s.
Yeah.
You know, and then she was like manhandled by some evil people.
She was like
no, she was
assault.
Yes, she was, and left for dead.
Yeah.
Luckily, they didn't show that in this.
No.
In the books, chapters of it.
No. I mean, it's Stephanie Meyer. She's not gonna, you know. And
be
then they
that
did
explicit.
this.
Yeah.
And that's for Breaking Dawn. But they get but we get her backstory, and again, it's another thing where she's like, I didn't choose to turn into a vampire. If I could, I wouldn't have done it. And
that's kind of Carlisle's thing, where it's, you know, it's not their choosing, it's who needs to be saved. And Bella's like, I volunteer as tribute. And then she's just like, nah, homie, you know, this is rough.
Same with Jasper, like he doesn't choose.
No.
And same with Riley, like these are all people who have been like
had
taken advantage of. Yeah. Or what? Sorry, Carlisle was saving Rosalie. Well, felt like he was saving Rosalie, but like Jasper was turned by someone who was using him, similar to Riley. Like, right? That's intentionally just like a direct
thingy
parallel. Yeah, between
thingy.
Between Riley and Victoria, and then
Jasper
Maria.
And Maria.
I think
Maria. Yeah.
Because the Jasper one, because that comes later when they actually start training to fight the newborns is what they call them.
Newborn
right?
army.
The newborn army of vampires, you know, because he was like, also, he's a Confederate colonel? Is that what it is?
Yeah, like that. General colonel.
Something.
Jasper, bad guy, already off the gate in life. Then he's, you know, gets turned, and he's explaining that like how the newborns are like super badass because he had to kill a bunch of them. Because now I'm finding out Jasper was a total fucking badass. Why did it take 3 movies for me to find out Jasper's a bad motherfucker? What the hell?
Because they're establishing the universe
with that bad wig. Come on,
lots of bad wigs, not just one.
He had the consistently worst wig for 2 movies.
Yeah.
And now Rosalie is taking that crown.
Really be called like Jasper's Vengeance or something, like
Jasper's Battle Scars.
Battle Scars.
Where everyone gets a bad wig and his improves. Yeah.
I just think it's funny how it's like, oh, Jasper, that guy who didn't really say anything for 2 movies is now like the baddest dude of the Cullen group.
Isn't that how it goes?
This is his moment to shine.
Yeah, I guess. I'm like, why aren't you guys just sending Jasper out to go like fucking murk people who are like fucking with you? What the hell? But whatever, I digress. So we get the whole newborn armies being raised. There's this going on, but the main drama of the movie is this argument between Jacob and Edward. Who is Bella gonna pick? Because Jacob's argument is, hey, if you pick me, you get to like grow old and have a family and not lose your immortal soul. And
she's like, I'm not in love with you, but you know, there is more. I have more to offer. And she's like, again, I'm not in love with you, but you know, all these added things that I can give you. And she's like, again, not in love with you, dude.
Well, later she says she is in love with him, just not as much as Edward.
Yeah.
So
she also says like, okay, at the very end, she says, Jacob is like being with him is like who I'm supposed to be, who I ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's who I really am. And that's her with Edward, you know, like in her imperfections, in her flawed, you know, nature. But it feels right because like that's really who she truly is, even though it's imperfect. Which I think is actually kind of like one of the deeper ideas. I thought that was like that had a lot of substance to it, you know, who I could be in a perfect world, in a perfect life, and who I am.
Yeah.
And also the one where you're not an undead blood-sucking vampire. Just saying.
Who has fun, fast cars, nice houses, you get to travel the world.
Expensive, luxurious lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can totally see. I'm sorry.
You're under the boot heel of these weird, like, vampire council.
You can totally see in this movie where the inspiration for 40 Shades of Grey came from.
50 Shades of Grey.
Sorry. Oh, wow. 40. If only there were 40.
Knocked off 10 of those.
Wishful thinking. There are 50. Yeah, but like, I feel like Edward is really coming into his like, you know,
creepy controlling boyfriend phase.
Christian Grey.
And also Christian Grey, like, and also like I'm a rich guy with like all this, like Jacob, right, gives her this little handmade bracelet with a little wolf on it, and then Edward's like, I felt like I should be represented too, and presents her like a blingy bracelet with like a diamond on it, like
it's the heart thing that heart that could connect to her bracelet.
Okay, but it's like a big diamond heart.
That was his mother's. That was in the book.
I thought the ring was his mother's.
That too.
Okay,
they were both his mother's. That's why it's like in the movie they don't establish that was his mom's, and it's like okay. I'm like, if they had said that in the movie, they'd be like, oh well, that's nice too. You know, you have something from his mom that was special to him, but in the book, like, nah.
I'm just
big ass heart.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's just like, oh, that's nice. So I'm gonna flex with my wallet. Here you go, bitch. What's up?
I mean,
truly,
he did buy her a bed. You're gonna spend the night. I'm gonna buy you a big ass bed.
That's another scene that we got to talk about because, what is it? The Cullens are like, oh, Bella, we're gonna leave you and Edward alone. We're gonna go off and do something or whatever. And like, is it Alice? Is that her name? Is like, you're welcome. Wink, wink, whatever. And Bella's like, I'm gonna go get fucking boned by a vampire. Let's fucking go. Because the scene before this, Charlie, her dad, the best character in this franchise.
The other man that you simp for.
Charlie is really like proving himself. Especially in this movie, I'm like, wait, like Charlie is like where it's at.
He's the GOAT.
He's the
of this
one
franchise.
who's like, that guy's problematic. Like your controlling boyfriend, right? Like
spend a lot of time with her. Maybe you should go hang out with Jacob. He's nice, you know. He's a friend. Just spend time with your friends. Anyone else?
Telling her not to like rush into life choices, like make good decisions.
He tries to
like,
give her.
Charlie's being a guy.
He tries to give her the talk in the kitchen, and it's awkward as fuck. And he's
as it should be.
As it should be. And she's like, Dad, Mom already told me this, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, you didn't have a boyfriend at 13, so now I'm going to tell you this. Well, honey. And Bella's like, Dad, I'm a virgin. He's like, God, don't say that. God,
I'm melting.
And then he's like, I'm starting to like this Edward guy.
I'm starting to like this Edward guy.
Yeah, Charlie is like really being a dude, though. Like, Charlie's showing up.
I want to know. How panicked were you when Riley was in the house and Charlie was asleep on the couch?
I was like, if they kill Charlie, I'm not finishing the series. I straight up thought that in my head. If they kill Charlie, I'm fucking out.
I forgot about that scene and I saw it. I'm like, oh, Dean's going to be shitting bricks at home right now.
I'm like sitting there, like Mike Tyson just lost to Jake Paul, and I'm like, well, fuck my life. This is awful. I'm seeing
everything is bad.
Everything is bad. Riley's about to eat Charlie, and I'm like, no, I can't emotionally handle this right now. Please, God. Oh, thank God he's safe. Oh, thank the Lord. But I love that. And then Bella goes to Edward's house. Edward's like, I bought you a bed. They're like laying on it, and she's like, right here, maybe just a little.
Oh God,
maybe. That sound again.
And it shows up in more of our episodes when it really doesn't need to be.
Correct. It's just funny that Edward's like, Bella, I can't. I don't want to hurt you. And I was waiting for Bella to be like, we can do mouth stuff.
Oh god.
Like, because okay, I think that was a thing in like what is it, the first movie
That's
that we
crawl under the table,
Whatever.
just disappear.
Well, that was in the first movie where they tried to like make out or something like that, and that was a whole.
And he throws himself back against the wall and is like, "No,
I can't.
I can't.
I can't touch you. And that was a thing where I'm like, dog, like.
No, Dean.
They're. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna say, Edward, you have a lot of like thoughts on this, but like Bella's a problem solver. She was gonna figure this out. God damn it.
Bella for me has never been more unlikable.
Than trying to pressure Edward into premarital sex.
Just in each movie, I'm like, wow, you suck worse than last time. And I will get into that because I really want to get into that. But
Well, why not?
Yeah.
well, because I
it.
want to talk about the Edward thing of like, I can't deflower you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys remember Stephanie Meyer's a Mormon,
Mhm.
okay? So
She's
this
a
is like
Mormon?
Mm.
Yeah,
No.
she's a Mormon.
Oh.
This is like the hottest thing in the world for her. She's like,
We get to
you
do
guys
everything
realize
but
that-
kind of
you
thing.
guys realize the appeal here. It's like he loves me so much that he's not going to compromise like my purity,
Mhm.
right? Like, and like his entire being like screams out for like, me. No, seriously.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm reading into
this.
this,
Is
yeah.
why, like this, I'm telling you this book is horny AF. Like, it's like I remember this scene in the book. I remember reading it, and it was like the steamiest thing ever. And I'm like, oh my god, like, is it gonna happen?
God,
Like,
how sheltered were you in high school, my lord?
I'm Catholic, Dean. Okay.
Very.
So
Very good.
You're like
anyway.
Catholics, Mormons,
like, I
handshake
okay,
over
sorry.
steamy Twilight
Handshake.
Saga.
Virtue, yes, maidenhood. No, but really, like, yeah, it was hella steamy,
Yeah.
and this like a lot of the scenes in this movie are cringe for me, like especially when like Jasper's telling Bella about his past, and Alice shows up and is like, "You never have to be that way again, Jasper," and then they like start like making out in front of
Bella,
Kristen
yeah.
Stewart, who's just like does her like typical awkward face. It's like,
Like, I
you
don't really know what to do with that one.
yeah, it's just like they just threw in all the like the teenage like hormones into this, like just raging hormones,
They
testosterone, estrogen,
Just
tornado.
started doing this. This has been in all the movies.
I know, but they like laid it on ultra heavy in Eclipse because in the book it is laid on
Yeah.
heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, this is one of the funniest scenes in the franchise so far.
The bed scene where he's like, "Stop taking off your clothes." Bella."
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
you want me to? And she's like, nah.
he's like, nah, nah. And she's like, come on, I really want that vampire dick. And
You
he's
know-
like, honey, how about? And then he pops the fucking ring out and proposes to her. And
Yeah.
I'm like, good sidestep, my guy. Awesome. You managed to get your way. But yeah, he proposes to Bella here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you okay? I mean, you're doing a face.
having a stroke.
Uh,
Yeah, he does. He does propose to her.
which is weird because didn't he already propose at the end of New Moon? Is he doing this again? Because they were
I
already
think
talking
no,
about
because
getting
she
married.
didn't say yes.
She didn't say yes.
Oh, she didn't say yes.
Yeah, and he asks her in the meadow at the beginning of
And then
Eclipse,
she says,
and she's
she
like,
can't
no.
because she's got, like a English test.
She's like,
Typical.
you have to turn me into a vampire first. She's like, I'll turn you after. He's like, no, turn me before. But what about after? Why is he's very resistant to like turning her into a vampire, and it's interesting.
I mean, it makes sense that he doesn't want to turn her because he knows that like it's a life of eternal damnation. But I think if she commits to him for life via, marriage, he
Mhm.
feels like, okay, this is for real, and now we are one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't remember it in the book. Like I don't remember exactly.
What about, like her immortal soul?
No, I just don't remember like why marriage seals the deal for him in terms of like
Because he's stuck in
turning
the
her.
past.
No, like turning her into a vampire.
I don't know. I mean, I know it's mostly he's stuck in the past, but at the same time,
Which is
he just doesn't want to do it.
it's just
No,
a weird thing that he's so stuck in the past. Where again, he's 90 or 100 years old or whatever it is. It's like You went through like the sexual revolution, the cultural revolution, like nom, this, that, whatever. Like you went through the swinging 60s. Edward, you can say a lot. I'm pretty sure you were like hanging out with some weird hippie people doing something. It's interesting that he's so like reserved and still stuck in a very pre-30s mentality of relationships. It's just kind of interesting that that's so like ingrained in his character.
I don't think Stephanie Meyer ever really explains it in the book, like why these characters
are the way that they are.
Or so
yeah,
like
but I guess
stuck
you
in
just
their
assume
moment.
truly like it's like a frozen in time type of thing, where like they're like whoever they were when they were last human is kind of what's distilled in time. But I don't think she like goes into any real. That's not really her strong suit as a writer.
You know, like cool flashback, and then we move on to the next.
Yeah,
which is the structure of the movie.
Yeah,
yeah, and as a writer too, like she's not really great at building worlds, to be honest. She's not like a Tolkien or even like J.K. Rowling. It's more like these books are really about like relationships and like you know, romance. So
that's really true. Like, I mean, I don't know too much about the books, never read them, but the movies are very these are like basically teen romance, but with an added fantasy element, and she gives just enough world building for there to be something there that you can like swish around in your mind or whatever, but it's not enough to be like, well, what language do the trees talk, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
have
Tolkien.
like an extensive like internal logic, this world. Yeah. So to ask these questions, it's kind of like we just have to, you know, assume or, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after the proposal, the newborns are on their way.
Yeah.
And the Cullens and the werewolves are joining forces, like homing up, you know, because they're going to defend Bella and save the day and going to be all super cool and awesome. And they lay blood out as a way to get them into this field while they take Bella up into, like, I guess, like the high part of the mountain or whatever. It's, like, cold up there. And they're going to hide up there with Jacob and Edward in the little tent. And Bella's like, ooh, it's so cold in here. And Edward's like, I would try and, like, warm you up with my body, but I'm a vampire and I'm cold. And Jacob's like, I'm not cold. And just slides into the sleeping bag. And it is the most awkward thing in the world. I'm starting to hear that wah, 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 wah music. It's getting weird. Okay, but the tent scene is, like, really awkward. And that's another, like...
That's in the book.
I'm assuming that's in the book.
Yeah.
But the tent scene is intense.
Intense, yes.
You guys.
Intense scenes.
Had to go there.
Well, I just bring that up because, like, talking about, like, oh, this movie's, like, really horny. This movie's, like, really da-da-da. This is, like, the scene where it's, like, this is, like a cucking fantasy in the middle of Twilight? What the fuck? It's just... This is a weird scene, right? Because it's also the most that Edward and Jacob have just talked together. Because up to this, it's either them yelling at each other.
Jacob's not originally supposed to be there, but then he decides to stay, right?
Yeah.
Like to provide protection. Yeah, but
he's like, I know she's gonna be freezing in there.
Jacob's like, don't worry, it'll be fine.
You know,
starts popping his collar off.
It's funny though because, like, okay, we have to get to the lines, but like.
We can get to the lines anytime you want, because I got opinions.
Okay, great. I'm about to lay them down. But even before this scene happens, he tells her, like, I can keep you warm. Like, I have a heart. I have, like, blood coursing through my veins. He says that when they're, like, fighting, and he, like, lays one on her.
Yeah. And then she's like, I can't believe you did that, and punches him in the face and breaks her hand. And, okay, that is one of the funniest scenes in this franchise.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's very Bella.
Okay. In the tent, when Edward realizes like he's gonna have to let Jacob get into the sleeping bag and warm her because she has like hypothermia. Literally, Jacob is like, let's face it, I am hotter than you. And I was like, are we actually that is not in the
Dean
book.
was like, yes, I love this so much.
That was so fucking funny.
Like that's like a groaner. Like I felt like I'm in the theater and I can hear everybody just being like, like
half the theater goes boo, the other half goes yeah,
woo,
Yeah.
ow, yeah. Oh, sorry, that was really loud.
You're
But-
fine. We'll fix it in post.
It was just like, oh my God. And then he gets into the tent and still bad boy Jacob
Mm-hmm.
is like, she'd warm up faster if she took her clothes off. I'm like, are you?
Survival 101.
Where are we
Put the knife
going?
into-
Yeah.
And Bella's like, oh Jacob, you scamp you, and Edward is just like death staring
I'm
at
about
Jacob.
to like rip him apart.
Mhm.
He's like, if I kill him, I can put her inside of him like a tauntaun. She'll be fine. It'll be fine. But
So this scene is awkward. It's like, super, just horny, teenage horniness. But
All those Team
But-
Switzerland fans are just like, this is my moment.
yeah.
I've got both of them.
Oh my
you're
gosh.
over there be like, I wasn't really Team Jacob, wasn't
Also,
really
I'm
Team
sorry.
Edward, I was Team Bella,
you're-
and it's like,
If you're
let's
Team
go.
Bella, like, you suck. You suck. Because, like, this whole movie, okay, we saw in Twilight how much of, like, a shitty friend Bella is.
Yeah.
We saw how, like, she doesn't fucking care about any. I'm getting mad now. She doesn't
Oh,
care.
like the whole graduation party where she blows off everyone. That
Totally.
one?
When like Anna Kendrick and is shopping for a dress and she's like, "What do you think?" And Bella's like, "Yeah, it's nice." Like she doesn't care about anyone except herself and her own like selfish.
She just really wanted to go to the bookstore.
Why
She's
is
so
it that
lame.
all of her friends are like, guys, Bella is like the goat. Like, we gotta hang out with Bella.
It's a small town.
It's a small town and she's new.
and she's from a
that's-
big city.
But she's
yeah.
like,
and that's what
I'm
it
just gonna
says in like
ignore them.
Twilight and Midnight Sun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, people are just obsessed with her because she's new meat. Like,
Yeah.
truly. Like, there's nothing exceptional about her, nothing special about her. But like, this
is
is
Bella
the thing.
even a good friend?
No, she sucks, dude. She's
She's the fourth person you call when you need to go to the movie theater and you
no,
don't want to go alone.
She's like the last, like fourth. Like, come on, okay. Unless that's
I
the
mean,
last person.
She did hop on the motorcycle after the movie.
Okay, let me just. I'm gonna slut.
That's fucked up, by the
Okay,
way.
I'm about
That's
to
fucked up.
slut shame Bella Swan. Okay,
All right.
she's horrible in Twilight to everyone. All
Mhm.
she cares about is like if she. I'm sorry, I'm about to get really vulgar. If she had a dick, all she cares about is getting her dick wet. Like, truly. I mean, she never really does, right? Because, like, Edward
Everyone's like, nah,
Yeah.
fam.
Edward won't bet her. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying, like, she is so...
Edward wouldn't. Jacob. I mean, honestly, if it was all about just her getting her dick wet or getting a pen in her inkwell, like Jacob's right there, honestly. And I think Jacob be down. But like it is just very funny.
Absolutely, 100%.
But it's not even a thing where she wants to get like a pen in her inkwell. She wants his, and it's almost a thing where she's like blowing
Cold,
off everyone because
pale,
she wants
hard.
Edward. Right? It's almost like a thing she wants what she can't have.
Yes, absolutely. But like,
Yeah, Bella
okay,
sucks.
she sucks, dude. Like New Moon, like Jacob is there for her during like
Yeah.
her hardest time, and then she's just like friend zones him hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throughout this movie is him getting into the friend zone
But
harder and harder.
at the same time, she's being like the worst girlfriend ever because she's like, I don't know. I mean, would you be cool with like Becky just like jumping on the back of some dude's motorcycle that you hate? And she's like, but I care about him. Like,
There'd be
Okay.
some words. I ain't gonna lie.
because you're not a controlling vampire boyfriend. But okay, her behavior throughout this entire movie is just like sus, and the fact that like,
There is no world where Edward doesn't think she's getting some wolf cock.
oh no, he's worried. He's worried, but he can read minds.
Yeah.
So again, controlling.
I also love it
controlling.
where he's like, I can't read Bella's mind, but every time I read Jacob's mind, he's undressing Bella. Like Edward says that it's like, dude, like, can you just not think about my girlfriend right now while we're talking? And he's like, why does it like piss you off? And he's like, yes, it fucking does. Can you not right now?
Yeah, it's pretty ballsy, honestly.
It is.
It's ballsy of Jacob, but whatever. Bella sucks, and
The dialogue is not doing anyone in
Another
this movie
thing.
any favors.
it's not. It's really not. There were other lines that like were just like, wow. I can't think of them right now because the let's face it, you're hotter than me. Just like eclipses all of them.
Eclipses the franchise.
But yeah, Bella just it's like it really okay, I started to question myself rewatching these because I was like, dang, how selfish was I as like a teen girl? Because what you're supposed to do when you're reading these books, when you're watching these movies as a teen girl, I don't know for you, Dean, but
Do you remember your teen girl days?
I'm a grown-ass man, and I was like, I'd probably be Charlie if I was put in this movie. Just real normal, real easygoing, hoping his best.
Just really want to sit on the couch and watch some baseball, maybe go out fishing every now and then.
Hanging out with my cool friend in a wheelchair, and we're just like gonna go solve mysteries.
We go to the diner.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I would literally be Charlie, and I'd be like, I'm living in Twin Peaks. I'm having a great time.
Twin Peaks, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you were a teen girl experiencing this, and you're supposed to project yourself onto Bella.
That's why she's so blank, right, in the books or whatever.
Yeah, she's literally like just truly blank girl, ordinary, not exceptional girl for you to project yourself onto. And it's like she is so selfish and narcissistic that it's like an entire, and she says throughout, like, I feel really bad, I'm worried about you guys, but it's like, talk is cheap, Bella Swan. Like, I don't know, she's putting an entire family in danger. The entire wolf clan or group in danger. Let's be honest,
the entire town in danger.
The entire freaking town, yeah, because we have like newborns feeding on anyone.
And that's why the vampires and the werewolves are uniting to protect the town from all these newborns.
And then, so now these like sworn enemies, wolves and werewolves and vampires, are like going to risk all their lives just for this like plain Jane regular degular bitch,
risking everything for a solid 7 out of 10. Like she's
I mean, whatever, I don't care how she looks, she's just a shitty person.
I was making a meme. I'm not passing judgment. That's like the bit or whatever where it's just like Jessica Alba in glasses, fucking 4 out of 10 Uggo without glasses, 9 out of 10. That is the story of the entirety of 90s high school comedies.
Oh my gosh. But it's like the idea that you're projecting so narcissistically onto this character is problematic, in my opinion.
But we know who we are. So when we put, our personalities onto the character, we're not, putting the town at danger. We'd be like, this is probably a bad idea.
Right. It's like,
and Bella's just like,
it's fantasy. It's safe, right?
Yeah.
It's like escaping into a fantasy, but it's like, it still feels really narcissistic.
It's the whole thing where it's like the whole like writing conceit of it, or the character conceit, is she has the most basic like personality type or whatever, so people can project onto her. And I think it's the whole thing where you read the book and I'm assuming when you're reading the books, you're more interested in the romantic fantasy aspect of her stuff, and all the action people are coming for her is like, well, that's out of Bella's control. People just hate her. Why would anyone hate Bella? She's me. So it's like that me, thing,
exactly.
Right?
And almost the action is not there for the sake of it like being cool. The action is there to contribute to the intensity of the romance and what Edward is willing to do for her and what Jacob is willing to do for her, in my opinion.
Which actually, that literally goes into like the movie, because the next morning after the 10th scene, when the fight happens, it's a bloodless battle, right? Because the vampires don't. Also, I think it is kind of low-key kind of cool that the vampires shatter instead of like bleeding. That's kind of cool. I like that conceit.
I do too, actually.
Dean's like, damn it, this movie's getting cooler.
That fight, the fight
I was thinking that too. Just the sound is like, it's like glass shattering.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, and the whole thing, they glitter in the sun, which is all, again, that's one of the
glass
weird things, but it's, again, like glass crystals they're breaking, and the werewolf CGI, like, this ain't no fucking Return of the King, but it's still pretty good.
It's pretty cool when they jump over that big rock and descend onto the vampires. And then we get the Pirates of the Caribbean moment where the vampires come up walking out of the water.
Yeah, there's some cool action. It's like the last action fight between the newborns, the Cullens, the werewolves is actually like pretty cool. I give that to the movie. Like David Slade can direct like fun action stuff.
Yeah, it's also cool to see like the couples working together, like Esme and Carlisle, or like Alice and Jasper.
I fucking love how Carlisle gets the guy into a reverse DDT, and the girl comes in and just fucking elbow drops him from the top rope. There's some fun shit in here.
And then the wolves just working together with the vampires is very satisfying to watch. But anyway.
But yes, the action for the romance, because what really that is when Victoria and Riley meet.
Well, you're completely glossing over the kiss at the top of the mountain.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my god, again, Bella sucks.
Well, that's actually like right before they show up.
That's right before the battle begins.
Where Bella finally is like, Edward tells Bella about them getting married, and then Jacob's like right there, and she's like, "You just did that to like make him mad," and he's like, "Well, he'd have to find out eventually," and then she
Even
goes.
though they've already agreed. That was shitty of Edward. Like, they already agreed not to tell Jacob that they're engaged before the battle because she's like, I need him to be thinking clearly. And so Edward just, what the hell? That was shady of Edward.
Edward's like, I mean, if Jacob's dead, then it would just be the two of us. But then she goes off.
I mean,
to
you get that
Jacob.
nice, bed scene where she's like, I'm worried, because it's going to be hard not to see, family and friends. He goes, gets easier over the decades. Everyone just dies, and then you clean slate.
Then,
it's like fucking Edward.
Why do you pick Edward? He is literally like,
he's
why
being sarcastic. He's being sarcastic,
no,
right? No, because when he said that, I was like, I had that reaction. I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh wait. He's being sarcastic, right?
No, that's the reality of it. Like, think about it.
It is
reality.
But
So
like,
he's
he doesn't
probably
actually
being
want
like,
that, right?
Well, okay. I mean, he's like, oh, you have to get married. Like, I'm wondering if the whole thing with Edward is just like, I'll just string her along until she's so old she doesn't want to be immortal anymore, and it'll be fine, Like, maybe that's it? I don't know. But it is a thing where he, like, objectively says, like, yeah, you'll be sad, but when everyone's dead, it'll be fine. You'll be like me, completely alone, simping over high school girls, roaming the countryside, just like me.
Bored.
Bored as hell.
Brooding.
You can't sleep. I listen to music all the time, and it's so grating. Like, for God's sakes, do you even understand how fucking obnoxious 80s synth was for a decade? Bella, listen to me here. Like, that's the thing. I think if Edward legitimately didn't want Bella to turn into a vampire, if that was a legitimate thing, it wouldn't be telling her, you're mortal soul, you're this, you're that. Just objectively explain to her the reality of being a vampire. There's a movie, a vampire movie. Big fan. Great. I don't remember if I talked about it. Near Dark. Has like Bill Paxton in it. It has Bill Paxton, Lance Hendrickson. Really good movie, strong action, fun vampire movie. But it actually kind of shows the reality of what would it be to be a fucking vampire. Like, you're immortal, right? Mm-hmm. And it is this group of like 5 vampires, and they have to go from town to town because they have to eat people to live, right? Mm-hmm. So they can't stay in one place for very long. So they go across like Texas, the Southwest, or whatever. They pick up hitchhikers, truckers, whatever, kill them, stay in shitty hotels because, well, we're vampires. We can't have jobs, like real jobs, that we have to stay for long periods of time. We only get like little bits of cash or whatever from the people we killed because we're vampires. And like try and push along or whatever. Like the Cullens have a way around it because they can, like, they're fucking vampire vegetarians or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and they can stay in places for a long period of time. But it still also goes into the fact that they can be alive for hundreds of years. And I'm gonna be real with you. I can watch a lot of movies. After 100 years of watching fucking Predator, it might start to grate on me. Okay?
Are you sure? Because you talk about Predator all the time.
Again, because I know I have a finite amount of time on this earth. I know every viewing of Predator is a gift. But if it was an infinite amount of Predator watchings, it might grate on me.
But you could have met the Brat Pack of filmmaking in the 70s. You could have got in good with them.
And then I would live long enough to see them all fade away into history.
I don't know. I see a lot of opportunity.
Exactly.
You would be over there being like, I'm immortal. I'm going to put 10% of my worth into the escrow account. I'm just going to like accumulate over time.
Literally, you could literally just invest and become like a multi-millionaire.
If we were teenagers, I got bitten. And I was like, yo, I got bit. You in. You would have been like, yeah, all right, let's go.
Totally. I mean,
it's just the reality of Edward told her the reality of being a vampire and how fucking boring it is. I think that might actually sway Bella.
Rosalie tries to in this movie.
She's like, I wanted to get old and, listen to my grandchildren. I'm like, Rosalie, you love being young and beautiful. Really? You wanted to get old and gray hair and sag? Like, really, Rosalie?
Like, Rosalie is like kind of your... she's your typical girl, I guess. Like, she's a fantasy about, like, an ordinary, happy life.
Seduced by Jack Houston, who is the nephew of Angelica Houston.
Really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Ooh, neat. But again, I just throw that out there because, yeah, growing old and sagging and gray and children and this and that, but that's life. That's, like, the beauty of a mortal life. Again, going back to the greatest fantasy franchise of all time, Lord of the Rings, that's the thing. Arwen is an immortal elf, and she's willing to give it up for the mortal life to be with Aragorn, right? Because, like, an infinite life, a life of eternity, has no value because there's no point to any of it, or maybe not no point, but there's no accumulation of worth. It's like the thing where it's like, if I live forever, why would I have to do anything? Like, why would I have to achieve anything if I live forever?
I mean,
everything can be done for tomorrow.
I get what you're saying, but I do think that, okay, in the Twilight world, okay, there is still a meaning in like being married, for instance, because like they're capable of dying, right? So like that's the thing with Victoria, is that like her forever mate was killed and is like forever gone. Like they won't see each other in the afterlife. He's like nothing. So I think that like the degree of risk still makes it like still creates meaning for them.
Yeah, but if I'm a vampire that's not a dick, like I'm riding out, all right? I'm chilling, vibing, gonna go eat some homeless people and be good to go. You know?
I don't know. I mean, there's another thing too. If you are immortal, then, well, technically immortal, unless another vampire or somebody powerful enough kills you and turns you into nothing. Then like choosing a mate forever is like, that's a big statement. Like getting married is actually, it's maybe potentially a greater statement than getting married as a mortal, because we, you know, when you get married, right, it dissolves after death or at death, right? Yeah. You could remarry somebody else, you know, whatever. But like this is kind of a bolder statement in a way. It's maybe a more romantic statement for vampires to get married.
I mean, that goes into some philosophical thought, like in the series Highlander, right? Like we have Sean Connery, who is not the Highlander. He's Ramirez, the Spaniard, who's actually Egyptian. He tells Connor McLeod that he got married like, he's like, I've only ever been married 3 times. How old are you? Like 600 years old or 1600 years old or whatever. And he's like, each one of my wives I loved, you know, tremendously. I married them and we were together until their last breaths or whatever. And it's almost the thing where he is, that's an incredibly like romantic gesture, because he knows he will outlive them and he will live with like the suffering of loss for them. But if they were like immortal forever, again, it's another thing where it's like, you know, I will always have a nice, tight, you know, woman for the rest of eternity.
Oh my God!
Again,
went there.
But it's like the thing where it's like
Becky's
growing
like, why?
old. It's like the thing where it's like it's
every
the
episode.
Beauty of it's the like love is the beauty of growing old.
Yes,
exactly. Start doing the hand thing, but it's the beauty of growing old with each other and like the maturity of love kind of thing, where it's like, you know, you can, like, being in love when you're both, like, young and hot is one thing. Being in love when you're both old and gray and sagging, that's layers to this game. It's literally, like, layers to this game.
True. That's a human, that's like the human route to romance, if you will. But
which is why I'm pro Charlie in this franchise.
Right. But the vampire route to romance
is like we're young and hot and we're just going to lay pipe across the world.
No comment, but I will say, see, I feel like this whole the Twilight world, the Twilight fantasy, doing things with my fingers, jazz hands, the Twilight fantasy. I feel like it's like we were talking about the action in the movie, and I was saying that like I feel like everything is just supposed to add like more intensity to the romance. Like Jacob as a character is just supposed to add more intensity to the Bella Edward romance. For her, for Bella, I feel like the I don't know. I remember reading this as a teen girl and thinking like, she's not just giving him her life in marriage, or she's not just giving him like herself in marriage, or like even her virginity. They're not just giving each other their virginity, but she is giving up her mortality, her human life. Like she's risking it all. She's sacrificing, laying herself completely bare. And it's that vulnerability and that like total, I guess, I mean, I still think Bella's like selfish AF, but the laying out of self that like is what makes it so like over the top romantic. That's
why you kind of, you know, turn a blind eye on all the crappy things she does, because it's like, no, she is giving up her life to spend the rest of her immortal life with him, who's been alone all this time.
Right.
She brings him to life.
There's a legitimate sense of
break out the evanescence. Do it.
It's the thing where it's like she has a legitimate sense of selflessness when it comes to like Edward, which is like I wonder if that's an interesting layer to it.
She does love Jacob, but like she does love him.
She says him. I mean,
but in
like
a really immature way.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about in the scene before we went on this very deep philosophical discussion about immortality and love. Like she goes up to like kiss Jacob after Jacob finds out that it's like, oh, you're getting married. She like insists that they kiss before he goes away
because she's trying to get him to stay. She doesn't want him to go get killed in the battle.
She does care about him, but also her logic and the way she handles things is so teen girl.
Oh yeah, and if Edward to get pissed off, you kissed him. I mean, you dumped me and then you went to Brazil. So it's like be like. Got me there.
Teen girl logic though. Like
Edward's like, how could you betray me like that? And she's like, you don't know what I was doing when you were gone in Brazil. Could you imagine if he threw that out at her, being like, you can't read my mind, and you don't know what I was doing when you were gone, and just and she literally does this as she walks away,
trips over a rock, cuts her head open.
Edward's over there being like, I need to read the mind of every man in town. Who the fuck touched my girl?
Can he read past thoughts?
I might only be active thoughts. He would start going up, being like, hey, guy, you see this girl here? She's pretty cute, right? And just like read minds, just like hard lining on it.
Oh yeah, I slept with her.
Yeah,
6 months ago.
Yeah, it was like 6 months ago. It was raining. It was during the montage,
It was 6:50, I believe, in the afternoon. It was beautiful.
It was during the season changing.
It was during Twilight, I believe.
Twilight.
Yeah, this movie's horny. But yeah, so teen girl logic, like, Jacob, don't stay. Don't go. I need to string you along a little bit more with like a possibility of getting this like top-notch like Kristen Stewart shit. But
a pretty epic kiss on the mountain.
Epic kiss on the mountain. Edward does not look pleased.
Location.
She's God damn it, she's right. But what is it? Eventually we do actually get to the fight.
Because Jacob's like, I knew, we made that agreement. Next time we kiss, it has to be you that asks me. But I'm going to head off to the battle now. I got what I needed. And she's like, what the fuck?
But also, she's still going to friend zone him.
Yeah.
It's still a friend zone kiss.
Joke's on him. He's still in the friend zone.
Yeah.
She is stringing him along
again,
low-key.
Teenage girl logic. Teen girl logic. And so we can get to the battle.
She's keeping her options open.
Yeah, I just want to say, but she's not really thinking about consequences. Like, she says that she is, but she's not. Like, it does make a difference that none of the Cullens die in this battle.
Yeah. Because,
if they did, this would be a very different story. And actually, we would start to question, whether Bella is kind of a bad fucking person. Okay, I just saw Kiss Me Deadly last night for the first time. Have y'all seen that? It's a film noir.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It has, oh my God.
I really don't know the actors.
It's the actress and Cloris Leachman, I think. Is
oh,
it?
okay.
Yeah. It's before she just started doing comedies. It's back in the 50s or whatever.
Okay.
It's I think it's 1953 or something.
Yeah.
But
don't quote me on that. I'm 90% sure that's it.
Sorry, I know I'm digressing, but I'm bringing it up because there's a big question in the movie. The main character is a private detective, of course, and
film noir private detective,
unheard of.
Never.
There's a big question. His secretary, who's also his a love interest for him, is how far are you going to pursue this mystery, trying to get to the bottom of this mystery when one of his friends, who's a mechanic, has died over this? How far are you going to go? And you can see that he feels horrible about it because this mechanic is a very childlike, innocent, fun-loving guy and gets murdered by the bad guys.
Oh, my people, yes.
Yeah,
because you're a mechanic all of a sudden.
Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
So he goes to the bar and he's drinking away his sorrows, but you really get the feeling is our hero a good guy or is he kind of selfish? And also, he's also compromising the safety of a lot of people in pursuing this mystery. But if one of the Cullens died in the battle or one of the Jacob gets really injured, but we're still not I don't feel like we're supposed to be in a place of is Bella a bad person because Bella is us, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's it's it's problematic in that way that it's like so far removed from like reality and real human experience that there's like no accountability for Bella. There's no responsibility.
It's like, whew, that was a close one.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh great, all your family's still alive. It's like, bitch, like
This
what the
okay,
fuck?
totally weird thought line, but again, this is gonna get into this is a fucking steamy episode. The whole thing of lack of consequences and all this other stuff. That's the logic of like pornography.
Yeah,
It's sex without consequences. It's relationship without consequences.
Exploitation.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like, well, no, I'm not even going into the whole like exploitation of this or that. It's literally like the logic of like the filmmaking of like porn is, oh, you can have these weird backdoor relationships with all these different people, and you can have these steamy, spicy, sexy things, and there's no consequence. No one gets pregnant. No one gets offended. No one gets mad. Oh,
totally.
oh my God, her sister walked in. Oh my God, no. And she just joins it. There's no consequence.
No, the curtain closes and it's the end.
It's the end. Yeah. And it's almost the same thing with like Twilight almost has that same like porn logic with
It does because
Bella.
it is a you guys
yeah, it's
a type of porn.
Yeah.
I mean just like horror can be potentially a type of porn. Like, because it's exploitative, but there are more consequences in horror, right? But like,
yeah, for a second I was
rules.
gonna be a little concerned if you were just like, yeah, you know, like it's like porn, you know, like Saw just really gets my motor running. I was gonna be concerned.
Okay, but wait, it does scratch an itch. Like horror does scratch a kind of like exploitation itch for a lot of people.
Yeah,
where they're like they're kind of getting a thrill from seeing somebody like compromised, right?
But there's
like,
consequences.
There are consequences. But yeah, I think like that's kind of a tangent. The point you're trying to get at is like there's no real, there's no afterthoughts about like how is this really impacting like real lives? Like
there's stakes that are made where it's like, oh my God, people could get hurt, but there's no consequence for it. So we get to have our jollies. Everyone gets to fight. All our favorite characters gets to fight and beat us, but no one gets hurt. No one dies. And it's like, oh, it's kind of the thing. They build up the stakes in this movie of the newborns are coming. They're these are bad motherfuckers. They're stronger and faster. And no one dies on our side. So the stakes are built up and the consequences are nil.
Totally.
Right?
Even like Jacob being the only one who's seriously injured from this fight, like it's not so much like to create real consequence as it is to just show like, oh, see, Bella really, again, to contribute to the romance, but not really to contribute to, like you're saying, real repercussions, you know?
Even you can extrapolate that where it's like, oh, Jacob's the only one hurt, and it's almost him being like, I'll bleed for you, Bella. I'll get hurt to save you. What did Jacob do? Jacob just pulled a diamond cutter on Victoria, and that was it.
Edward.
Or all Edward did was pull a diamond cutter on Victoria. Or, sorry, RKO. I don't know.
Did you like that battle scene?
You have no idea how excited I was seeing some of that wrestling shit. It was so fucking fun.
Knocking trees down.
It was like, okay, I think Edward did like have his moment there. Actually, when Victoria's about to run and he's like, no, I'm going to take this.
I love that part.
This bitch out.
And he's like, you're not going to have this opportunity again. And he's like, let me rile her up. I turned him into nothing. And then she was just like,
okay, that was very satisfying. His delivery of those lines, I turned him into ash. I turned him into nothing. Okay. Sorry, guys. But honestly, the best scene for me was, okay, the tent scene, insanely awkward, but wait, the conversation that Jacob and Edward had in the tent, I was like, this, for me, like, cancels out all the toxic shit.
Yeah, because it's like they're finally talking and understanding each other where it's like, oh, so you don't want to turn her into a vampire? No, I want her to be, happy and have a human life. Oh, that's cool, man. Me too. I kind of like you. Yeah, I really don't like you, but JK, I really do like you.
Yeah.
I'd like that because it's like, in another life, we could have been friends. I like that because it is a layer of their relationship outside of I'd be so interested just to see a scene or whatever where it's these two guys just hanging out without Bella. Maybe not even like hanging out. They're just like stuck in a room together and they're like, we have fucking 45 minutes until Bella's ready to go to graduation. You watch any sports? No, I'm kind of a music guy. What music do you listen to? that interaction, because they have no they have no real depth beyond Bella.
This is another thing going back to the narcissistic issue of Twilight, which is that like, no, you never even hear. I don't know. Maybe the Cullens have a few like conversations for a few seconds, or a few minutes without Bella, or like the Volturi. But like, this world really doesn't exist outside of like her mind. It's not like Harry Potter. It's not like the Lord of the Rings or something like that, where you have like fleshed out characters with like independent thoughts, feelings, motivations. It's like, no, this is Bella's universe. She is the sun, and like or whatever else, Bella's solar system. You know, I don't know. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. But like, yeah, it's a good scene. It's one of the better scenes in the series, in my opinion. And also, like, you really see how these two characters like selflessly love her, because prior to that, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like red flags, like waving left and right. So they redeem themselves, I feel. Yeah.
So yeah, but Jacob is injured. But they defeat the newborns. Edward kills Victoria. Riley gets eaten, I'm assuming.
After Edward's like, she never loved you. Edward's just, cutting it, deep up there on the mountain, just like, wow.
Edward's like, I spent 100 years learning how to insult you bitches. I'm ready to go.
I had to spend a night in the tent with some dude holding on to my girlfriend. I'm going to be toxic for a little while.
I thought it was very satisfying.
It was. I loved it.
But we have the victorious triumph of our heroes. The Volturi show up, and they're like, so...
That was pretty impressive.
That was cool. That's cool. Awesome.
We weren't going to help, but that was pretty impressive to watch.
Awesome. Bella's not a vampire yet. We set a date. Oh, cool. Send us invitations. Awesome.
We'll let the bosses know. Okay.
Cool. Oh, there's still a newborn.
Let's go kill that little girl.
Little girl. Oh, she's from Silent Hill. Oh, awesome. Cool. We like that movie. I'm going to go murder her.
And that little girl, she gets her own little novella that comes out of the main series, The Short Life of Brie Tanner.
She gets a what?
Really?
A novella.
A novella?
Yeah, like a novella, a novel.
I
know that.
I know, but you said it with like the hard accent.
I can't help that I'm Hispanic.
It's an English word, I think.
Telenovela.
It's a novella.
Yeah.
Whatever. Fine,
I mean, it kind of sounds like you're saying vanilla.
What's wrong with vanilla?
She gets a vanilla.
Vanilla.
I get
like
vanilla.
Some carne asada.
That's how we are digressing.
Okay,
yes.
So.
But yeah, we get an expanded story about her. I didn't read it because I didn't care. But it's just
fuck this series.
I don't know. I stick with the main series.
Becky is the Volturi. I don't care. I
don't care.
She's the Volturi in like the 17th century robes, just looking down at people like, a novella, please, fucking plebeians.
But I mean, it is sad. They could have given her a chance. Like, okay, she was turned. We can teach her. We could make her, a functioning vampire. And they're like, nah.
She's somebody I don't know why is given so much focus in the movie, because she has because we see her throughout it, and then at the end I'm like, why is this a relevant thing? I'm assuming now that there's a novella and she's an expanded character in the book, but in the movie she is part of the many newborns in this,
because the novella came out before the movie came out.
Right before the movie came out.
Really? I think I don't know how long after Eclipse the novella came out, but I think that's why they focus on it, because there is a book about her.
That makes sense. I thought that they were just trying to draw more attention to how Jasper and Riley are similar, because remember Jasper
is training them.
He's training, a newborn army for Maria, and then you see that he even has to kill this little boy.
Yeah.
And he says I heard all their I felt all their emotions, So I don't know. I thought that was supposed to accentuate that, but what you're saying makes more sense.
But that mirrors it too.
I think also for me, reading this book, I remember that this was where you're really starting to see the Volturi, how much potential for evil they have. Because in New Moon you first learn about them.
Yeah.
And you're not really sure how dangerous they are. But then in Eclipse, this is kind of a little bit of them flexing, and also seeing how good the Cullens are.
Yeah. And it's no wonder they want to recruit.
Right. But seeing how merciful, Renee. Sorry, Renee. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, no, Renee is Bella's mom.
Yeah, I was about to say Renesmee.
Yeah.
But Esme and Carlisle, seeing how good, how human, how humane they are, even as vampires.
We'll take her in, we'll help her.
We'll forgive her, we'll help her, we'll offer her asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
But
But realistically, it's like, no, we'll give her a family.
Yeah, but and at the same time, we're seeing how savage the
Yeah, it's like-
Volturi are.
Yeah, we're just gonna take her out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Taurus, like, these are the rules, and they broke
They're
the rules.
they're draconian. Yeah.
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 But also, like, the Volturi, we're seeing, it's like, well, why did they not step in, like, to help the Cullens?
They're not gonna
'Cause
mess up their
again-
ropes.
That's what I asked earlier.
But again, because we're seeing, again, how draconian they are. They're like, the Cullens got themselves into this mess, and they're going to have to deal with it. If they die, they die. If they get wiped out, they get wiped out. Like, the Volturi are just truly soulless. Like, just...
And whoever survives that has gifts, we take them.
Yeah, they are opportunists. They you know, like to take advantage of the situation in all situations.
The Volturi suck.
Oh yeah.
Bunch
They
of
suck.
snot-nosed nerd. Yeah, I know what I fucking said. We should do a bonus episode where we do, what is it, Vampires Suck, the like scary movie version of the Twilight
God.
series. It'll be great. But that happens. We get Bella to go see Jacob after he's been injured, recovery, whatever. He shoots his shot one last time, and she's like, Friend Zone's real nice place this time of year.
Well, I mean, we also have that scene too where we've kind of seen the werewolves and the vampires come together. They have let Carlisle onto the reservation, kind of nullifying the treaty.
Billy
And
says thank you.
yeah, he shakes his hand, and it's like, oh, okay, so we're progressing from I hate you, I hate everything that you are, to wow, you helped us. Maybe you guys aren't all bad.
They're coming together.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their enemy is Bella. God, we hate that bitch. Yeah, us too. God, if it weren't for the fact the young ones are like really into her, we would have killed her. Dude, you too?
Okay.
Awesome. You want to go fishing? Hell yeah.
Watching this film again, I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but I started to question. I was like, why does Bella trust the vampires so implicitly?
Because
Like,
they're hot.
Just because they're
Yeah,
hot, just
they're
because she's
hot.
attracted. But I almost like when Edward is telling Riley, like, Victoria doesn't really love you. Like,
Mhm.
she's created you to like avenge the death of her true mate.
Mm-hmm.
I was already having the feeling kind of because Jacob is creating a lot of doubt for Bella
Of course, yeah.
of like, you know, is this really the guy for you? Like, is he really going to give you the best life?
Mm-hmm.
But like that conversation too, again, had me like thinking like, well, why does she just trust Edward? Like, it's almost like, you know, how some predators have ways of like, the vampires literally have ways of attracting their prey.
Yeah.
The attraction, the
Drawing
grooming,
them in, yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. It was the first time where I was like, could this have turned out a different way?
Could have.
Could have taken a serious turn.
Actually, that's an interesting point on that, because, like, and I guess in the internal logic of the world, she completely trusts like the Cullens like out of the gate, right? But and she's kind of like wary about like the werewolves a little bit, but it's like, Bella, you knew Jacob and his dad, and I'm assuming you went on their property, reservation, whatever, to like hang out as a kid, right? But isn't there also a point in the first book where Edward explains that it's like everything about me is designed to draw you in?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, is that it? Again, there's a lot of implied this is way creepier than it actually is about this series, and I'm wondering, like, how much would you have to turn this to make this into a straight fucking horror movie from like Bella's perspective? Like, how much would you have to turn it just a little bit?
The vampires have to be unhinged. They're attacking people. They're killing people. They're slaughtering the town.
If
But
Carlisle
Bella's like,
was
they're
just
hot.
Damn. You know, I literally just saw Edward like eat a toddler, but God, he looks so good. Jesus, dreaming.
Speaking of toddlers, that comes up in the story too.
Oh God.
Oh, you mean Rosalie?
No.
What?
We'll get there. We'll get there. That's in the next movies.
Oh, God.
I thought you meant in Eclipse.
No.
So we get to the last scene of the movie. Edward and Bella, they're talking about their future, about the getting married, the this, the that, when they're gonna turn her.
Yeah.
They're back in the meadow. It's
Yeah.
very nice, very pretty. And I think there's an implication that Bella's like, I want one more thing before I turn or whatever. And to me, I think she was trying to go back to Rosalie's thing where I think he was going to ask Edwards, like, I want a kid before I die or whatever. but she never gets that out. Like, that's what I thought she was going to ask him. And then she's like, I want to graduate or some bullshit. I don't remember what it is. But I thought she was going to ask Edward to, like, I want a kid before I die or turn into a vampire. Is that not what it was?
No, it's just, a little bit more of human experiences.
I thought that's what she was aiming. I thought that's what she was aiming at.
No.
All right. That's what I thought that was going. But the ending of the movie. Your thoughts on the ending? You're thinking, did Bella want a kid?
No. Wait, what's the final shot? Is that the final shot in the meadow again?
It's them
in the meadow, and then she asks for the ring back.
Oh,
right.
They're gonna have to talk to Charlie and giant ass ring.
Because that's the whole thing where they're talking about you want to get your human experiences and this and that and da 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 da. And she's like, well, you mean I can't see my parents ever again? I have to start making up reasons I can't go visit them, and she wants to have more human experiences before she goes. And I thought
it's not the kids. She wants.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. She wants it. You got to do it into the microphone. She wants a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like she's like willing to stay human longer. She's willing to do the whole marriage thing, but he also needs to cave and give it up.
Give it up.
Okay, the hilarious thing, the unspoken thing about this whole, Bella Edward having sex situation is that, like, he literally can't have sex with her because he will, like, break her.
I will break you.
Yeah, no, literally.
Okay,
like,
what we really need to know for the the science of this
it's
all
like
is
having
like,
sex with a piece of limp broccoli. Like, for Edward.
Sure.
Just like in half, just
dead. My thinking is like, look, we just have to find out, like, if he like shoots his load, is that like a shotgun going out, or if it's like normal? Because if it's normal,
again, Stephanie Meyer, you didn't flesh this out.
She didn't clarify.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't even know where to, we don't know how to, we don't have any internal logic to know.
Nope.
This starts evolving into the whole Superman conversation from Mallrats, where it's like, Superman can't have sex with Lois Lane. He's a Kryptonian. He'll like shoot his load and he'll blast her back out with like a shotgun. And it's like, this is kind of...
We don't get into this until the next movie.
Okay.
Oh my God.
There is a little bit of... Stephanie Meyer does give us something to work with.
A little bit, yeah.
This is going to be our R-rated series, right? The Twilight series.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it's definitely becoming that.
But yes.
With sound effect by sound effect, it is becoming R-rated.
But I'm just saying, like, there's some problem solving they could get around if, like, they want to just get into the whole... There's some problem solving things you can get around here. But that's the first one you got to figure out. Like, does she need to move out of the way, or is she gonna like lose an arm? Like, that's where really she's gonna lose. That's where we got to learn here, okay?
And you'll learn it in the next movie.
Oh, sweet Lord!
It's so funny. I can't.
Dean's so excited.
But the ending of Eclipse. Thoughts on the ending? Good ending. We're kind of coming back to got some cool fights. The romance developed a little bit more.
Yeah, because Twilight. She survives, but Edward's still, I'm ready to hit the open road because as much as I love her, I'm just not good for her. And the New Moon, damn, I screwed up a lot, but I'm back and I'm never going to let go of her. And this one, it's kind of like, we grew up a little bit.
Yeah.
We did it. I don't know how.
Breathe a little,
I think we just needed to talk more. Who knew talking was the solution?
Yes, ending.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I feel like Eclipse, again, I said this at the beginning, was just like Stephanie Meyer's like issuing an apology for like the anticlimax of New Moon.
Yeah.
So, that's my final thought. Eclipse is just horny, steamy teen girl romance.
Yeah.
As it should be. Well, little things about its release is this was a giant box office hit. I think it literally set the record for the highest grossing midnight release of all time until like Deathly Hallows Part 2. It made $670 million against a $68 million budget, which, again, I love how the budgets for these just get so much bigger as they go on. Because the first one was like $10 million or something. It was not a lot.
You can see it, too.
Yes, you can see this getting more expensive as it goes along.
Wait until the next movie.
Oh,
the world even expands more.
My God. But the other thing is, the critical thing, because this was never a critical this series was never a critical darling. Critics never liked the Twilight
they
series.
Always shat on it.
They always shat on it. People always came to the theaters to see it, so these all made a shit ton of money, but critics hated it. And the divide on it, because the divide on it is people didn't like the thin plots and the dialogue, but they did like the action and romance fantasy elements of it. Like, they liked the aesthetic and the vibe, but they didn't like the actual story of it.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about how the dialogue in this movie ain't it, my guy. It's just not. But also the plot of this, I wanted to touch on a little bit. The plot of this movie is kind of thin, because not a whole lot happens.
No, it's just leading up to this battle.
Right? Like, the romance doesn't really the romance isn't really transformative at all. Like, we don't get it, like, well, New Moon, Jacob has now entered the arena of Bella's hand in romance, but Edward comes back and kind of reestablishes himself, and there's the love triangle. And this movie is like, there's still a love triangle. Bella's still gonna pick Edward. Jacob is still in the friend zone, and then there's a battle with the Volturi, and Victoria's dead. That's kind of the whole plot of this movie. Right? I
mean, their relationships progress too. I mean, they're engaged now, and they're gonna get married, and then ultimately she's gonna turn.
Well, we kind of get that in New Moon, don't we?
There's no. They don't seal the deal.
I see.
It's still a lot of negotiating.
But I guess that's the thing. For me, the plot of this is like real, like thin. Like, we have one very narrow path to walk to get us from point A to point B. And there's no, like, expansion upon the plot. We get some, like, backstory stuff, but that almost feels like we're just padding out the runtime to get us to 2 hours. Because this is just, like, 2 hours on the dot.
It's because the book truly is just about romance. Like, I feel. It's about... I felt like the book was really about romance and then, like, getting rid of Victoria because they needed to kind of, like,
close that book.
Yeah, just be like, she's out of the way. She's not a threat anymore. That's done. Because there's going to be a new threat in Breaking Dawn. So, I don't know. Yeah.
I see. Well, just wanted to voice that. But that is Twilight's Eclipse. Final thoughts? Anything? Any last comments, concerns, cussing, discussing? Yasmin, do you want to tell us how much you love Bella?
So many concerns, but no. I mean, I feel like I've said everything I need to say about it.
Well, what about you? Did you enjoy this movie better than the last movie? Or are you still Team Jacob all the way? I want to be on the res with Jacob, just, fixing bikes.
I mean...
doing manly, shirtless things.
No.
Being with the boys.
I am far too overweight to be shirtless that much. And I'm also too pale. So I would say... Okay, the first Twilight was okay. I got it. It's the production I didn't think came together. It was just the blue tinting, not cool. Like, again, it was like, okay, I got it. Okay. New Moon, I was like, oh, this is like actually a pretty okay movie. It's good. Like, I would have qualified. It's like good. I felt this one was almost a step back. I didn't think how it was shot was like weird. Like, anything that wasn't an action scene, I'm like, why is everything handheld and we're like punching in at weird times for like certain dialogue things? And the action was like fun, but again, the plot I didn't think developed nearly as much as I wanted to. So I would say this was like better than Twilight, not as good as New Moon. That's where I would put it.
Okay.
So it'd be number 2 in the trifecta so far. That's where I put it.
All right.
I agree. Which is funny because I thought that New Moon is my least favorite book, but I think it's the best of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. I found somebody on YouTube who read the Twilight Saga while in prison, and he said the second book was the worst.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting choice for prison. But anyway.
Yes. But Becky, Boo, did you want to say anything? You seem to be pointing at something over there.
I think you should say it.
Oh, so this movie is about, love, engagements, marriage. So we have an announcement to make that we got engaged okay, because time is weird. So we got engaged on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening to this in December, that would have been like over a month ago. But since when we're recording it was
Real
like
time,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But yeah, we're engaged now. We're getting married. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yasmin freaked the fuck out.
She did.
I'm still freaking out. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
She literally brought us champagne.
She
There's
did.
champagne sitting here.
Do you want to wear my Burger King crown?
Of course.
She will wear
anything
that for the picture.
for you.
I've got the rock. You get the crown.
Amazing.
But yeah, so
I love it.
We did.
we did, yeah. So we got engaged. It's gonna be fun. You know, we'll get
Twilight
married.
themed wedding.
So
But yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting
so-
married. Thanks. So yeah,
Yeah.
everyone. I might have had to cut
Party.
things out of there because details. But yeah,
yeah,
so,
Dean loves to spread details.
yeah. So yeah, but we're engaged, married.
Yes, we are.
It's gonna be great.
Well, we're not married. We're
We're
engaged.
gonna get married.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great and fun, and you know, we'll do a podcast episode at the reception. It'll be cool. We'll do
Oh
the
my
wedding
gosh.
singer.
We'll do a live.
We'll do a live.
That would be cool.
But yeah, so Becky, you want to tell anybody anything else? You know, let them know things.
Follow us on YouTube.
Oh God. But yeah, so yeah,
But
that's
yes,
fun.
so we're engaged.
I just want to say here in front of everyone that if you pull an Edward Cullen, Dean, and you prevent Becky from seeing your friends and family after you get married, I'm gonna pull a Jacob.
I'm the one that you're gonna.
I'm gonna go
lay
I'm gonna go
shirtless
werewolf.
in a tent with Becky. That's weird.
I'm gonna go Super Saiyan werewolf.
Weird.
We will be arch rivals. No, just kidding. But
Cool.
Wow.
Well, if you wanted to,
Beans is family already.
Lord,
Here.
God. But
Family.
so, but next episode, we'll be doing.
This is our finale for the
yes.
Twilight Saga. It is our Breaking Dawn super episode
Yes.
because the movie should have just been one big movie. It
I'm-
should have just been like a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Breaking Dawn, but we're gonna do both parts as one, so it will be a long as fuck episode.
It'll be all right.
And then, but if you wanted to,
Ah!
to listen to that, where can they go?
If you want to listen to us on a different platform, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, where we're finally caught up. We probably are going to release our bonus episode for celebrating our 500 subscribers.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you can go to our YouTube
Exciting.
channel, The Film Vault. That's The Film Vault on YouTube because the film club was taken. And yes, we are going to release a bonus episode on our YouTube channel.
Video episode.
A video episode, and you can go there, like, comment, and subscribe. You know, tell your friends. You know, pass the YouTube channel around, get some more subscribers. And you can also follow us on our social media at
The Film Clip Podcast on Instagram, where we post upcoming episodes, upcoming guests, and random adventures we go on.
and Yasmin over there crying just profusely over the beauty of our engagement. Do you want to plug anything? Say anything?
Don't follow me.
Don't follow. you.
Don't follow me. Just, turn all your energies towards these soon to be newlyweds.
Someday.
And
Soon.
and with that,
We'll see you next week at the Film Club.
have a good week, everybody.